Okay, well, just a bit of an update here. It's like a couple days later. Mario's head has been glued nicely. Mario's one arm has been glued nicely. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap here, but I can easily put filler in there. And now I have taped the other arm, and it is currently drying. So maybe some point tomorrow, which will be Monday, I will take the tape off and then put the filler in, and you'll see me again then, which of course in your time will be like literally in like 3 seconds here. But yeah, we have the other arm currently glued. Hopefully it holds, and then we will move on to the next step. And I actually am planning to make a base because he doesn't seem so stable, so I'm going to make a nice little base that he's going to stand on too. So we'll see what happens once we let the glue dry for like a good 15 hours or so. Okay, at this point it has been a few days since the last segment I made, and here's Mario. If you can see, his arm is in place. I had to do something different than I tried in the previous video because the whole thing where I had it taped up didn't work. So what I had to do was I had to lay him down on his back like this, and then I just kind of glued it in place and kind of just laid it so it was like sitting on something. And I left it there for a few days, like putting more glue into here. And then that eventually did do it. And at this point, I think we're at a point where the hand is up enough that we're really good here. So I think now we're kind of ready for the last of the model work. And of course, any filler, because I have to put like some filler in here, filler where the arm is, because I just don't want it to have gaps. Well, I'm going to get back to the desk, and then we're going to start with the filler and take a look if any other body work is needed. But I'll tell you right now, another time when I do check for final body work is when I have the first coat of paint on. You see a lot more flaws than you would with it just white like this, because there's a lot of stuff you absolutely cannot see when the character's not painted. So let's get back to the desk and we will start the filler and bodywork process. Okay, now as you see, I got Mario up here on the desk. The easiest way to notice like the flaws that I have to fix here with the filler is by his arms here. You'll see there are the slits because, you know, everything doesn't match perfectly. And then if I turn it like this, you'll see on the side where the head is, there's where the seam of the head is. And of course, where the hands are, there's a little bit of a seam too. So now all I have to do, if he doesn't fall over because there's like stuff stuck on the bottom of his feet, which I will smooth out a bit. If he's kind of not like standing so nicely, I might make a base, like what I'm thinking of is I might make like a giant coin and put that on the bottom. But it's kind of one of those things. I'll see if I have to do that or not. But what I basically use as my filler here is this Elmer's wood filler, and I'm just gonna put some of it within the within like all the cracks and everything, and then you just smooth it out and sand it out, and everything just ends up looking a lot better. So I'll show you how I do that here really quick. I might not include all of this footage in the final video because it gets kind of boring, you know, a lot of labor intensive stuff. So see where the arm is really like kind of jutting out of the socket there. I'm gonna put this here, and what I did was I combined this with a little bit of water because it just like loosens it up a bit and makes it more of like a putty or a paste that you can just kind of put in there. But the nice part about this stuff is twofold. It washes off with water, and you can just add water to it if you want to thin it out a bit, and then you won't have any problem when it comes to like just getting it in the nooks and crannies you really need to get it into, because otherwise your character, especially if you have to put it together in parts like Mario here, just ends up looking kind of bad because you just have holes where there shouldn't be holes, because, you know, Mario is supposed to be a human, and he shouldn't have, like, holes where his arms connect to his body, so that's something we have to basically fix here. But you'll see here, I'm not doing the greatest job of this, but just gonna get it so it's... And the nice part is any of this excess that I get on the body will come off easily. And in 10-15 minutes, this will dry like really like cement. But of course, if you did put some in the wrong place, you can then use sandpaper, or I can use my Dremel light and get it out of there. But basically, we're just trying to make it as smooth as possible when the paint goes from his shirt to his arm, so he will not look like he has holes where he shouldn't have holes. But I'm going to try the other arm here, since this one will probably be a little bit easier to show you because it's not as weird as the one he's holding up. So just basically getting the filler material in there. As I said, you don't have to be perfect. You can smooth it out later, but you just have to get enough where it needs to go so it basically serves its purpose. Don't have to be as worried about underneath because it's not seen as much. But if I take a look at this later and there's not enough filler in there, what I can go ahead and do is just put more. It's no big deal. So just a little bit more here. And then of course, as I said, where the hand is, notice how there's a really sharp seam there, but it's not too bad. We just want to make it so it looks like Mario's wearing a glove. He doesn't have a glove that ends at his wrist like he looks like he does now. And yeah, this stuff sands really nicely, so no problem there. I need to get more of this in a little while because I noticed the container I have is kind of running out, but I think I get it like on Amazon and it's not too much. And as I said, the good part is even if you had it all dry up, just put some water in there, mix it up, and guess what? It's ready to go again. It's not that bad. It's not like I know some people like to use like Bondo and everything, but that stuff is like toxic, and if you're breathing in too many of those fumes, forget about it. It's really bad for you. But yeah, this is working out quite well with the arm here. And as I said, if you get a little bit too much here, a little bit too much there, it's easy to get it off. And keep in mind, this is a handmade thing. It's not going to be perfect, but it's not too hard to get a decent finish on these things, especially after you paint it. Sometimes I'll show you when I'm getting to the painting phase. There's a couple of tricks you can do here and there when you're painting it, even if something's a little bit rough, to make it look not as rough. And then, just for fun, I'm going to go over here and do the other hand, the one that's holding the mushroom. And one thing you will notice is if you're doing what I'm doing and holding the model with one hand and working the compound with the other hand, the model is kind of heavy. This one I did kind of print kind of a little bit more heavy duty than I probably should have. And one thing that I do kind of regret now is that I printed the arm a bit heavy. I should have printed it lighter so it would not feel like it's trying to constantly tear from Mario's body because it's too much weight. But yeah, here we go, and just a little bit more here. And what I will do is after I'm done recording this footage, if I see any areas that need more, I'll just add more and just revise that, because it's kind of one of those things, as I told you, I might be like, do this now and think that it's how do you call it? I might think that it's good, but might need more. But yeah, just putting a little bit more of the filler in here and it should look just great. And then we'll just put a little bit on his head here because it's a little bit rough there. And we kind of want it just to look like his hair isn't split in half. But you can put as little or as much as you want and it's not going to cause a problem. But that's basically all that there is to that. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I will see you when I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on this, and then we'll get to the painting phase. Okay, now we got our Mario here. The filler material has had time to dry. Some of it will just fleck right off. Other pieces of it won't. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some sandpaper here, work it all on that, smooth everything out, and then we'll get ready to put our first coats of paint on Mario and kind of see what other body work needs to be done. Because as I said, like, you can kind of see there's like a little bit of texture here that might look good because it's part of the pants, whereas there's a little bit in his face and I might need to sand that, but I really won't know how good or bad it looks until I get some paint on there. But I'm going to go ahead and smooth this all out, and then I will be back to you to put those first layers of paint on Mario, and we'll finally get to see him taking a little bit of life here. But let's go ahead and do that, and I'll go ahead and smooth it out with the sandpaper. Okay, so now that we have it smoothed out pretty well, it's not perfect, but I could always smooth it out more later. All I'm basically going to do now is do what I call a basic paint, where like this gets painted blue, the shirt gets painted red, of course his face gets painted flesh color, his hat gets painted red, the gloves get painted white so they won't be as shiny, and then of course the shoes and the hair all gets painted brown. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It probably will take me a few minutes, and the thing to keep in mind is when you're first painting your prints with acrylic paint, they won't look too great because it takes a couple coats to build up a nice coat of paint on there. So basically you just want to coat everything with paint the first time, and then afterwards it'll start to look better. So I'm going to do the basic paint and I'll be right back with you here.